New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Reverend Edward Mulraine on the program right now. What's up, sir? How are you?
Hey, all is well.
Grab that
all
microphone. Yeah, man. Representing Mount Vernon. You're a pastor up there?
I'm a pastor up there, yes.
And it's Mount Vernon?
Mount Vernon, New York.
What church are you at?
Unity Baptist Tabernacle.
Unity Baptist Tabernacle.
Right. Yeah.
I went to a Baptist church as a young man.
Yeah,
sang in the
good
choir.
place.
Started Pentecostal. Then,
Me too. We got the same background.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, and you're from New York City?
I'm from New York, South Bronx.
There you go. So now I read up on you. Are you currently running for political office?
No. That was 2 years ago. I ran for New York State Senate.
Okay. And are you still involved in politics?
Absolutely. If you read, it's all over the book.
Okay.
We got a section called the community section.
All right.
And it deals with politics to a great degree. And I delve into that real hard because sometimes, even in the church and in the spiritual life of many people, they don't believe that they should get involved in politics. But I dive into it. It says that, what Bible are they reading if they don't get involved with politics? You look at it and all over the Bible and as well as other religious manuals, you'll see that politics is a big part of any people's lives that's trying to make changes for their community. So we delve into it real hard. And check this out. I have a section in the book say that especially men, because the book deals mostly with men, so especially men. And it says that how whenever a political candidate wins that a man supported, the testosterone level of a man goes up, which means that baby making time is about to happen.
Yikes.
And it's statistically proven in there.
So you telling me that all these men that voted for Donald Trump went out and then they started having babies after?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
It's in there.
It is in there in terms of proving that whenever something happened in terms of our political involvement and engagement throughout history, it's been proven that we get highly involved in political, community, and social issues. And I have a big part of that in the book.
Is that somehow tied to the man's desire to provide and protect and create community and family? And
Absolutely.
Got it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Because family is very much a part of the book, and it deals with that on a big level.
And I guess what we're seeing with politics and what people are paying attention to today, this desire to leave a legacy.
Right.
Right, I guess is also a part of it too, and shaping the community.
Right.
For that legacy.
Well, the legacy is a continuation of what has already been established, and that could be in any community. Unfortunately, right now, it looks like the conservative community has already taken claim with Donald Trump, but at the same time, there is people rising every day in order to challenge that. And I think in the next election, you'll see those who are really against the policies of this current administration.
So you're feeling in your community. And with your constituency that people are definitely unhappy with the tone and the way things are going.
The tone, the policy, the madness. I see a lot of
chaos, the misdirection.
Misdirection. And if you see it from a secular point of view, you say the policies are wrong. If you see it from a spiritual point of view, you say there's tyrant and evil going wrong, and it must be challenged.
The 10-Step M.A.N is the book. You have M.A.N here as an acronym.
Right.
What's the acronym for?
We thought about not only one man, but acronyms actually stands for Man of Armor Nation, which means that the whole book is about putting on the whole armor of God, but it also deals with, and if you look at the pictures, like Game of Thrones, and you actually put on armor for
it's Jon Snow. That's Jon Snow on the cover of the book. You see Jon Snow right there.
I'm a big Jon Snow.
You know what I'm saying?
So when you see that and you put the whole armor, when you talk about it in the biblical context, you have the helmet of salvation, you have the breastplate of righteousness, and what I do, the feet fitted with the gospel of peace, and what you do is turn all of these into a principle by people can live by.
Now, why 10 steps? I've definitely, everybody's got a number of steps. It's, the 12-step this and the, why'd you pick 10 steps?
That's all I could count to.
Wait a minute. Love the honesty.
I couldn't go any further.
Now this is 200 and something pages.
Yeah, 255 pages. But look at the way it's broken down. And I thought about, when I was thinking about this, because we like to read little snippets of things. We like head titles. If the title's captivating, then we read into the rest. And that's what I put at the beginning of the book. When you read it, every page has something that you could get out of it in terms of a
So this is more
principle.
this is almost like a manual where you don't necessarily need to read it straight through, but if you're looking for a way to focus yourself, a way to give yourself some purpose,
right,
and arm yourselves,
right,
as this says, with everything going on around you, this is a good book for you.
Absolutely.
So you could basically just pick this up and pick
certain chapters, whatever you feel like getting.
Yeah. And at the beginning of the book, you know what's so good about this, and I own my own publishing company, is that you can craft it the way you want to, especially the content area. When you look at the beginning of the book, I was able to put down what that principle was and what it involves in terms of, like, the beginning, security. That's guarding yourself. That deals a lot with sexual issues that men deal with and have. And the belt of truth around you deal with security and securing yourself from certain things, diseases, etc. But it's broken down in the beginning of the book. And if you don't read anything else, just read the content of the book, and it will direct you towards the area that you want to go to.
Yeah, you can pick
whereas some
you
people
want.
will see a big book like this and say, hell no, I ain't reading that. But if you look at it and you go into just the beginning of the book, you'll see that it directs you right to that area, that issue that you may have. And it gets real deep in certain areas.
Reverend Edward Mulraine, representing the Westchester area, Mount Vernon to be exact. How long have you been involved in the church up there?
The church, 15 years. I come out of the Bronx, and then it came to Mount Vernon. But about 15 years pastor, but about 17 years at Mount Vernon.
And then your involvement in the community up there, what do you, as far as the young people and what they're paying attention to today, right? Because obviously we sit here, so we hear Hot 97, we hear from all the communities all over, you know, whether that's on social media, on the phones, or when we're out in the community doing events. What are young people in your community most concerned about today?
I think that the same thing that young people in most communities are concerned about. I think they're concerned about the political aspects of the way things are going right now.
You think they're paying attention?
Absolutely. I had one young man come up to me the other day and said, when are we going to start registering voters? He's 16, 17 years old, and he's reading this book, actually, so I want to say that no matter what age you are, you can read this book. But he came up to me and he said, when are we going to start voter registration? And he said, I got a group of friends that are ready to go at it, from the Bronx, from Mount Vernon, all over, in order to make sure that we address these issues. So they may address it in their own context, in their own direction, in their own way, but they're still concerned about it. And even if they have to do it through the rap community and see, I just wish more of the rap community would speak out about it, because it influences, and they're very impressionable to young people in order to go in that
I think the
direction.
music community, whether it's hip hop or R&B or whatever community it is, I think that there's obviously people involved who are young and don't understand politics, right? I think that's common across the board in young people. And I even think, one of the things we're seeing with regard to how Trump became president is our lack of understanding of how it actually works, right? Hillary won the popular vote, but she didn't get the right electorates in the right portions of the United States to actually secure the deal.
Exactly.
Then you have people like my brother right here, Shawnee Culture. He's not listening. He doesn't believe in the system. He believes in the local, right? And his community participates in his community in voting. Whether that be congressmen, assemblymen, local community. But when you get to the federal level,
something that doesn't have an electoral college,
something that doesn't have an electoral
filter
college,
that kind of
it is
taints the voting system.
Anybody would tell you this: politics is local. If you even start at the local level, it's a good thing, whether you get involved in politics or not. And I would say this, that it's not only about the politics and all of that shenanigans that go along with it. It's about the issues. I think once we connect our young people or anybody else to the issues, I think that's when they begin to get involved. The good thing about this Trump administration, it is raising a lot of issues that you can identify with and that you can be against easily and say, what must I do next? Because just to be against it and say nothing about it, I think that's where you get ruined. But
and it's also too
that makes the changes.
The young lady Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? She came by when she was running for, what district was that, Laura? 14th district?
Yeah, she beat Crowley out.
Yeah, she beat Crowley.
Yes,
Queens and Bronx.
And she when she came in, she was like, look, it's the primary, but only 3% of the available voters show up in the primary. Right. And I remember it was another young lady who was running for, I want to believe
I was in Brooklyn.
It was in Brooklyn or Queens, but she came by. She was also trying to, a young woman from Jamaica, Queens had come by, and I forget what office she was running for, forgive me. Right. But even her, she was going door to door to door. Right. And the guy that had been sitting on the seat, not from the community, in the final hour got like one building to go vote in his favor and beat her. Yeah. It's that small. Right. And these is real local politics. And if we get involved, we can actually make some changes.
Absolutely. The same thing when I ran. When you're running against the establishment and against the machine, it's a hard thing. But at the same time, you are more
come closer to the mic.
you're more likely to go at it and be more vigilant because you know that you're running against a big, strong machine. You challenging unions, you're challenging people who are connected politically, and so you have to really go at it. And I think that's where a lot of, especially newcomers and Quartet and them, they get their energy. They're saying, listen, we're going to go at this system because of a particular message that they have. And they have a good message, and it gets out there. And because it's such low number of voters, sometimes that could work in your favor. Low number of voters, you know the majority of them, you get them out.
And you live in this community. It's your community.
Disadvantage to the current administration, it can work in your favor, but at times it can work against you.
Right. So. The 10-Step Man. Go get the book. It is the practical guide to peace, power, purpose, liberation in a world of women, wine, war, and wickedness.
Yes. Yes.
Why women here? Why?
I know. Everybody asks that question. That's the first thing that people act to identify.
Is that because men can't control themselves or something?
Well, I mean, in the book, there's a lot of issues with men not controlling themselves, but then how to control themselves. But I think that when you look at the whole book, it's talking about issues that men face. One of the issues that men face is women. Women in terms of the way they interact with them, women in terms of the way some men might abuse them, women in the way sometimes that men might get abused by women. The whole idea is in there. So when we talk about that, those are basically just the issues and
do you unpack
purposes.
Male insecurity in here and the fact that most men are really sensitive
absolutely
babies and can't really cope with dealing with some of these more emotionally mature women, and so we act out physically, and that's a part of the problem.
Yeah.
Which is honestly leadership issues and not having men in their lives who are also capable of directing them.
Right. At the beginning of the book, I talk about fatherlessness and the absence of a father in the home and how that can impact the next generation of men. And it could cause a lot of immaturities, a lot of insecurities, etc. And you have a lot of men, I'm a pastor, I hear a lot of them. That's why I came up with this book, in order to help and deal with men and their various issues, from conferences to mentoring them to just counseling them. And you see the biggest problem men have, the absence of a father in their home, and when they're coming up, or if the father is there, he's not really there. And that causes a whole lot of insecurities. And when you have those insecurities, then you try to take it out on someone. The closest person to you in your life is mostly another woman. And they take it out on them, and they abuse them, or they mistreat them, and their own lack of self-confidence result in them feeling like they're somebody as a result of abusing somebody else. So the insecurity is a big part of the book, and I tell men about it, but I don't focus on it so much as to say that you have to identify with it and you have to come into contact with it, but at the same time you have to overcome it. And the way you overcome it is by start learning to know yourself, understand who you are. Right. Understand the gifts that you have. Understand that it's an asset to you if your woman is doing well. It helps you. What good is a woman if she can't help you and you doing something and all you're doing is abusing her and you're insecure about yourself? If you become confident in who you are, it would help your relationship, it will help your children, it will help your family, it will help your community. So see the advantages in it.
And so a lot of this is taking responsibility and looking yourself in the mirror and starting to unpack where you are.
And I start talking about calling stuff out. Like, if you know you have a problem with something, admit it. Start talking about it. I mean, you just talked about, I was listening as I came in here earlier about R. Kelly and his situation issues over the years, and he's had a lot of them. And in that new song, he's starting to talk about certain things that he's had, but he's not really confronting it. You got to address it in a way that it is a problem. And when you address it in a way, whether publicly or private, between you and God, whatever it is, you got to at least see it as a problem. When you begin to admit it and confess it, you start calling it out so that it could come out of you, and you deal with it. You may need a considerable amount of counseling.
Right, and whether you do that in a spiritual way or like we talk about on the show, mental health. Actually going to sit with a professional.
Right. That's right. You need to talk to somebody about it, because a lot of men have issues. Listen, the worst, or I should say the most memorable issue that I had, a man who had been violated. Believe it or not, a lot of men have been violated by counselors, by preachers, by their mothers and fathers, and he came. Brother, you would never think he's a correction officer. And he said to me, he said, listen, I have an issue. His sex life was out of control. He said, listen, I need help. And I counseled that man for about 6 months straight. He became abusive to men who he felt were gay, who came into the prison system and after the counseling, he got all of that out of him and began to realize that what he was doing was wrong, number one, because he was doing wrong because of the wrong that had been done to him. But when he began to confess it and knew that there was a problem, you got to come to your place in life where you know something is a problem. It's not going to help me. And he came to the point where he admitted that, he dealt with it, and to this day, he's doing well. This is 10 years ago. He's still, you know, he's on the path of righteousness for his own sake. And I just know that many men, you know, they have a lot of issues. But if you don't confront it, if you don't at least begin to confess it, and like I said, it's like you said, you could do it on your show, you could do it to other people, you need a counselor, whatever it is, but at least realize that there's a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say come to our show to do it.
No. I say you'll talk about it.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about it, but we'll send you to see a professional for sure.
See a professional, right?
I mean, we have gurus here. They're pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
But when things
This is
get
the guru section,
when things
right.
get deep though, we
Yeah, you should.
no, we
go
actually
for
send it to a
help.
professional.
Oh, yeah. If it's very deep, absolutely. But I do think it's a great point to make, though, because how can you start dealing with a problem if you can't even admit to yourself that it's a problem?
Right. You got to admit. You got to at least confess it, and you have to come to terms with it. And most likely, an incident will occur in your life that will disrupt it and make you realize that the direction you're walking in is not the right direction. And it could be divorce. It could be somebody dying in your family.
Your kids being taken away. Your woman don't want to be around you.
And
losing a job, getting
all
arrested,
kinds
being
of
in jail, all of
issues.
it.
And you in jail sitting there. And sometimes jail's the best place. We could just sit there and think about it, what you're going through. And that makes you think when you come out, then you start to do better. And so these issues are all confronted in the book.
The 10-Step Man, go get it. Reverend Edward Mulraine, thank you for coming by today, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I just say I'll be at in Westchester, Yonkers,
Absolutely.
Barnes and Noble, and you can reach me. Please hit me up on my social media, Ed Mulraine. All social media, and please let me the contact information, edwardmulraine.com. You can order the book, edwardmulraine.com, like I said.
And Mulraine is spelled Mulraine, Ed Mulraine.
That's right, Ed Mulraine, and edwardmulraine.com for the website.
Thank you
can
very
order
much,
the books
sir.
there. Amazon, Barnes and Noble, it's all over the place.
Thank you very much.
All right.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Y'all
I
give it one
appreciate
time.
y'all.
No,
Thank
for
you.
sure,
Thank you.
for sure. Great talk.
I appreciate you.